So let me just take you on a brief history of the vaping fiasco that we have dealt with just recently. I'm not even going to go back to the state of Indiana getting caught trying to allow only one company to sell vape juice in the state, and then the FBI coming in and probing a bunch of our politicians about it. I'm not even going to get into that, okay? I'm just going to talk about the flavored stuff. So vaping has been around for about 15 years, been real popular for about 10. Nobody ever got sick. Miraculously, all of a sudden, we had like a 72-hour period where 200 people ended up in the hospital. Okay? Now, a normal, logical person takes a step back and says, okay, either there is a new trend that is happening or there is a defective product that made it onto the market. Just like your iPhones blew up on 2 separate occasions, your Samsungs blew up, your Samsung washing machines blew up, or your dryers, I guess it was, the dryers. Or you have bad food or anything else. We just had several recalls that happened here for some produce last week. So things like that happen, right? So you assume it can happen with e-liquids as well. So instead of taking a step back and going, all right, what actually happened, politicians saw an opportunity to exploit for their lobbyist buddies in the big tobacco, big pharma industries and go out there and declare vaping to be dangerous, which of course it's not. And me and I think nobody else on radio was telling you, I don't know anybody else in radio who's telling everybody that it was, I don't know anybody. It was me and like the Australian news. We're out there telling you, no, the only reason people are getting sick is because they have been abusing illegal drugs from the black market and that have been cut with vitamin E acetate, which is an oil that solidifies kind of like your bacon grease will when you're done cooking, right? And so I was trying to tell everybody that. And then the CDC kind of initially, they had a report that said, yeah, it looks like it's all coming from the black market THC stuff. But they continued on, and they continued promoting this idea that vaping was causing normal vaping, legal over-the-counter vaping was making people sick and making people die, which is not the case. Finally, the CDC admitted that the culprit is vitamin E acetate in this black market stuff, okay? So finally, which just should settle everything down, but naturally it doesn't. The president was one of them that had come out and said, just like the governor of Michigan, that we're going to ban flavored e-liquids, which makes absolutely no sense at all. Adults are allowed to have whatever flavor of anything that they want. This notion that you have to restrict the flavors because some kid might like it doesn't make any sense, especially since we allow all sorts of yummy alcohol to be out there, and kids are far more likely to abuse alcohol than they are any vaping device. So then we hear that the president is backing off of his call to ban flavored e-liquids and that he will allow them to be sold in licensed vape shops. So you'll still be able to get them. One of the things I also told you to look out for is what people will do now is they'll buy the flavoring separate and they'll just go buy the e-liquids that are allowed. They'll make their own at home. What was the report we talked about last Wednesday, Joe? People are making their own e-liquids at home again with some dangerous consequences as a result, right? So it's exactly what I was telling everybody. I've been right about this literally from the beginning. I know that that's not unusual for me, but I've just been especially on point on this. So then Trump hosted the vaping shout fest at the White House here last week, which I wasn't able to talk about on Friday. President Donald Trump's White House meeting with vaping lobbyists and anti-tobacco activists erupted in shouting and debate Friday afternoon as the president seemed poised to backpedal on his ban of flavored e-liquids. You watch prohibition, Trump said during the session. If you don't give it to them, it is going to come here illegally. They could be selling something on the street corner that could be horrible. They are going to have a flavor that is poison, which is exactly what is happening now. Senator Mitt Romney, Republican of Utah, woefully out of touch, an outspoken critic of flavored e-cigarettes, told the president that most adults are not using flavors. He's wrong. Most adults do use flavors. So vaping industry leaders in the room shouted out, yes, they do, and they offered sales statistics according to the poll report. Utah is a Mormon state. Half of the kids in high school are vaping, said Romney, who's sponsoring a bill that would ban flavors. They don't have any research that shows half of the kids there are vaping, by the way. There is no research on this. That's the thing that you have to understand. There's been one study that was done. Now, when they ask kids about tobacco use, they ask if you have been a regular user of tobacco in the previous 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is. With the vaping stuff, they asked if they had come in contact with or tried even once a vaping product in the past year. And so a lot of the kids said, yeah, I tried it. But you also have to understand that a lot of kids don't use nicotine-infused e-liquids. It's just the flavor. Has nothing to do with nicotine. The president said the administration will raise the tobacco purchasing age to 21, which many representatives in the room from tobacco and vaping industries and anti-tobacco groups support. But he seemed to retreat from the widespread ban promised in September that would cover flavored e-cigarettes, including mint and menthol products. Good. It's the right call. The idea that an adult cannot have something that is an enjoyable flavor because some kid might like it as well is so, it's so unintellectual. Like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's immature, it's stupid. We are adults. If we like cherry, we can have cherry. The idea that we can't have cherry simply because some kid likes cherry too is just dumb. You're an oxygen thief if you think that way. Now, raising the smoking age to 21, that's a whole other debate now that we got to get into because, once again, the United States will not settle on what age you are an adult. Either you are an adult at 18, or you're an adult at 21, or you're an adult at 13 when people say that you could be able to go get an abortion without telling anybody. We've got to figure this out, and nobody is willing to sit down and have that discussion on when you're actually an adult. By the way, I would like, the science actually supports moving into a later age, just so you know. But I just want the country to be consistent about it. And if you're an adult at 21, fine. You're not voting until you're 21 either. You're not serving in the military until you're 21. You're not being sentenced as an adult or put on death row until you're 21. We got more coming up. News Talk 95.3, Michiana's news channel, and News Talk 1190 WOWO 107.5 FM.